Hey, what's going on, my friend? This is Ola. This is Ola coming to you live from my Empire Pro Studios. Welcome to Virtual Wholesaling Masterclass. My name is Ola Tux Abitogun. My goal here, I want to cover everything there is to know about virtual wholesaling. We're going to cover everything today. So I'm extremely excited, and I'm hoping that you're just as excited. Even if you're just half as excited as I am, that's more than enough, because today you will learn how to bring in 5 to 10 deals per month. This is all about a system. It's a very simple business, okay? It's not about how hard you manually work. It's about having access to the information I'm going to give you today and putting together a system to make it work for you even while you're sleeping, okay? So that's what we're going to cover today. Again, my name is Tux Abitogun. Some people call me Tux. Most people know me as Ola. And but I'm very, very excited, as you can see. The game has changed. The game has completely changed. About 3 years ago, I talked about wholesaling being dead. And basically at that time, we started talking about smart wholesaling. About a year after that, we talked about smart wholesaling. You know, just like everything else in life, things evolve. Things evolve, and you have to stay on top of it. But again, that's not the main part about what we're about to cover today. Definitely, I'll be talking about how things have changed. But also, some of you may be here and it's your first time learning about real estate investing, and you're looking for ways to tap into the wave that's coming, where you can literally flip houses right from your laptop. We're going to cover all of that today. So I'm very, very excited about what we're going to cover today. All right. So I kind of waited a little bit just to make sure that everyone is plugged in. If you're plugged in right now, just stay put, grab your pen, grab your papers, get the babies with a babysitter, get the dogs with a babysitter. Do whatever you have to do, because the information I'm going to share with you over the next minutes, you don't want to miss any part of it. All right, so with that being said, I think I should wait about 30 seconds. I want you to grab a pen, grab a paper. You need to take notes. All right, so yep, about 30 seconds. I'll be right back. Okay, about my background, that's it. Let's get started. I think, I should do a little background so you can have a proper context of why I'm able to share this kind of information with you. I was just like you. The only difference is that to have this kind of information, I had to pay money. Back in 2004, I invested about $3,000 in the course, So, and in 2005, I closed my first deal. Okay, it was a $10,000 deal. It was supposed to be $20,000 deal. Some of you that probably know my story know why that $20,000 turned to $10,000. Nonetheless, that was a good $10,000. It was Christmas time, December. It was worth it. I bought a car for $5,000, and then from there, I had some money to continue to market. In 2007, by 2007, just less than 24 months into consistently closing deals, I've done about $3 million in complete personal sales. In 2008, then the real estate caused a recession to the whole world and everything crashed. And yes, by the way, my business got wiped out together with it. In 2009, I discovered virtual businesses. Okay. So my background for virtual businesses and running a business from home goes as far back as 2009. Honestly, everything before that was kind of like virtual too. And because there was a few things that happened that kind of like started to really become a sign for me to start to look at things a little bit differently. And sadly, in 2020 and beyond, some people still think manual work is what turns to money, but it just doesn't. It's not luck, but it's not manual work either. It's actually more like value. The more value you put into a marketplace, the more money you're going to make. And that doesn't necessarily mean manual work. Okay. And that's why you will find out here in a minute how you can easily build a 6-7 figure business with half the amount of work that you already do right now. That means you'll be able to spend more time with your family. You have more freedom of time and money and whatever you want to do with that. Okay. Now in 2011, I launched myEmpirePRO.com. So we've been around quite a bit. My Empire Pro Studios has been around for a while. It was just the launch of myEmpirePRO.com in 2011. 2012, we're doing about $3,000 to $15,000 per day. Basically, our products, we started creating products, we started creating opportunities with, and also from real estate as well too, but basically we wake up certain days and we have up to $15,000 in sales. So, and everything in between. Okay. So I'm not telling you that everything is I'm not telling you by any stretch that in the next 30 days, you're going to do this, but I'm telling you that in the next few days, you'll be able to be all set up to be able to do this down the line. Okay. We'll talk more about that. 2014, joint venture, real estate investing, silent partnerships everywhere. So basically I didn't have to go out on the streets anymore. I didn't have to do any kind of the dirty work that comes with traditional real estate investing and wholesaling. Basically I became a silent killer in the business. 2018, I wrote Smart Real Estate Wholesaling from my experiences, and I came up with 3 core pillars: value, automation, and people. Okay, 3 core pillars that makes up a virtual business. Not just virtual business, any business period. But if you want to build a smart business, that's what it comes down to. All right, so and then in 2019, I wrote a second book called The Real Estate Money Secrets. Basically, I found out that a lot of people, probably don't have any proper context of what it even means to make money in real estate. And by the way, the book has nothing to do with being licensed as an agent or anything like that. That's just one of many different ways to make money in real estate. Being an agent requires being on the streets and knocking on doors and, dealing with people and then babysitting people. None of this stuff I'm going to share with you has anything to do with babysitting people. It has to do with putting out more value into the marketplace of real estate. And that marketplace also includes real estate agents. Okay, so you're not going to be enemies to real estate agents. You're actually going to help them make their life a lot more easier right from your laptop with everything I'll be sharing with you. So who is this for? This masterclass right here is very important that I cover who this particular masterclass is for. It's not for everyone. Okay, I'll be the first to tell you it's not for everyone, but I want to tell you, if you have any interest, if you're a beginner, you're brand new into the game of real estate investing, and you have any interest in making money in real estate, and especially now that everything has seemingly crashed down to below zero, this is the right time to come in right now. It's not the right time to come in when everything is rosy. It's okay to come in. Right now is always the best time to come in, but the next best time to come in is when everything doesn't seem rosy in real estate, because it also means there's a lot more opportunity that I will be uncovering for you over the next few minutes here. Okay, then if you've closed one deal, okay, if you've closed one deal before but you can't seem to get to the next deal and you're kind of stuck, you kind of got lucky and then you closed one deal. Maybe you were driving for dollars, you got lucky and you closed one deal and now you can't seem to find the next deal. This masterclass is absolutely for you. If you've been closing one deal per year, maybe you're not consistent enough with what you're supposed to do. Maybe you're depending on you as a human being, because human beings, one of the hardest things for us to do is to be consistent. We're not machines. Okay. So because of that, you need to create systems that will put you in a position to be consistent. You have to position yourself for consistency. Consistency doesn't fall out of the skies. You have to position yourself for that, because there are going to be days when you don't feel like getting up. Does your business continue when you don't feel like getting up, right? Then local real estate investors, maybe you're stuck in local and you feel like, maybe there's another market out there where I could benefit from. If you're that kind of person and you feel like, I should expand my horizons. And in fact, you've noticed that in your particular local market, it's not the best. The activities doesn't seem like what you hear about on the internet. Then this is absolutely for you too, because we're going to cover how the new local is basically international, not even just national. You have to go beyond what you comprehend as local. Okay, it's a global village that we're in right now. So when you have a laptop and an internet connection, that definition changes. That's also for you. We're also going to cover those of you that are already advanced real estate investors, but you're looking to take everything online. You want more time, more freedom, and you want to be able to do this, and maybe you're looking to scale out massively. This masterclass is also for you. Okay, so where's the money? Okay, so a lot of people, you're brand new here and you don't even understand where's real estate investing coming from. It's very, very simple. Okay, so let's just assume a property is worth $100,000. Like if it was all fixed up and ready to go, it's brand new, it's staged, it's beautiful. Somebody came with their wife into the kitchen, they fell in love with the kitchen, the bathroom is all good to go. That property is worth $100,000 today. Let's just assume that for a second, for the sake of example, right? Basically, that property is worth $100,000, but there's a property next door to it. It needs some work. Let's just assume it needs about $10,000 worth of work to bring it up to the same speed. The same exact type of property, but it needs about $10,000 to fix it, right? The idea, when you hear the 70% rule in flipping houses, it's called the 70% rule. The idea as an investor is to go in there and offer 70% of what the property will be worth after repair. So after repair, we already know it's worth $100,000, right? So the idea is you multiply $100,000 by 70%. That brings you to $70,000. I'm keeping the number super simple, right? If this was $400,000, you will multiply $400,000 by 70%, right? And that will be what? $280,000. But you have to adjust that number for the amount it's going to take you to repair it. Okay, so let's go back to the $100,000 example, right? $100,000, 70% of $100,000 is $70,000. It's going to cost you $10,000 to fix up the property, right? And that's 70 minus $10,000, and your offer will be $60,000 on the house. Okay, why did you multiply by 70%? Because that's where your profit lies. That's how you're going to be able to pay the fees, the closing cost, holding fees, and that's how you're going to be able to make some profit. It's as simple as that. So you want to write this down. Dealestimator.com. It's a free tool that I put together that you can use to calculate and mess around. Once we're done with this class and you start doing work, you can use dealestimator.com and do quick math and understand how these things work. But it's a free calculator. You don't have to overthink it. You don't have to be trying to calculate comprehensive or complicated math in your head. It's very simple. After repair value, you need to find that. So we know it's $100,000 in this case. You multiply that by 70%, okay? And then you adjust that for how much it's going to cost you to repair the property. And then you have $60,000, right? Now, in some market, that 70% rule will be 65. In some market, it will be 80% rule. So the more competitive that market is, the higher that number can be, because it just means there's more investors willing to pay more, right? But if there's a regular market, you're probably looking at about 70%. If it's really, really slow in your market, you're looking at about 65%, okay? And obviously, across board, the lower you can get with that factor, that rule, right, the better, because it just means there's more space to make some serious profit. But that's the 70% in flipping rule. That's the core of everything we're going to be working with here today. There are all kind of nuances. We're going to cover all of that in a second, okay? But that's really, really the core thing that you need to understand. That's where the money comes from. That 30% difference, that equity spread that you create when you multiply 70% by the after repair value, that's where the profit comes from. And the more you can find this kind of deals where it's discounted, okay, by a minimum of 70%, right, adjusted with the amount it's going to cost you to repair it, the more you can find it, the more money you can make. Now, how do we find it? Again, we live in a global village. We have laptop, we have an internet connection. It's extremely easy to do that these days. It's really, really that simple, okay? Now, the other thing I wanted to share with you is that why would somebody want to sell their property cheaply? Because it needs work. So that fixed up property that's staged, that's beautiful, that somebody will fall in love, that somebody has done some work and adding value to the property, obviously that person would be less motivated to want to sell it to you at a cheaper price, right? They want as as much money as possible, right? That's what they want, right? So we're looking for properties that need work. We're looking for properties from distressed homeowners, meaning a tired landlord, a landlord who doesn't want to deal with tenant headaches or things like that, or maybe people that have a lien on their property and they can't afford to pay for it. These are the kind of situation you're looking strictly for. Distressed property owners, potentially distressed property owners is what we're going to be dealing with. We don't deal with pretty houses. It makes sense that they will want full price for their house, right? We don't deal with people that don't have to sell. They don't have to sell. We're not dealing with people that have listed their house on the public market, because again, they've listed their house on the public market because generally they want as much money as possible for it, right? So if you're gonna talk to those people and help them out, you want to make sure you're focused on helping them get what they want. You don't want to be presenting the opposite of what they want, because that's how you become people's enemies, right? So that's how you find deals. You find distressed property owners, vacant properties, pre-foreclosures, people facing divorces, out-of-state owners, non-owner occupied property that needs significant amount of work, right? Burnt down houses. These are the opportunities. Ugly houses, ugly situations, okay, that happens in life. Unfortunately, that's where the opportunities are. You help the homeowner get rid of this kind of situation, you make money in that same process. That's where the money comes in. So now, my 10-in-1 goal for you today is to equip you to close 2 to 3 deals per month. Okay, let's keep it that simple. Okay, by the time you learn what you learned here today, if you're closing 10, 20 deals per month, I won't be surprised. Okay, but let's keep things conservative. Okay, because if you can close 2 to 3 deals per month, then all you have to do is work on the system so you can multiply that and scale out without scaling out the amount of time that's required on your part. That's what systems mean. That's what leverage is all about. Okay. So 1, we're going to cover 5 most popular myths about investing in real estate. We're also going to cover the 10 steps definite guide to real estate investing and wholesaling. I've touched a little bit on some of them just now, okay? But we're going to get into a little bit more details. The 2 necessary evil sides of wholesaling that gurus never talk about, okay? So wholesaling is when you find the deals, okay? Investing or fixing and flipping, you don't have to do that part. There are people waiting for deals all day long. They'll pay you. They will pay for the property. You make a little $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. You keep it moving to the next deal without having to touch fixing properties if you don't want to. Okay. Now, if you do want to, being in the position to learn what you're about to learn today, you get to see the best deals in the market before they get in the hands of fix and flippers, right? You see the best deals and you can retain the best deals for yourself. So even if you're a fix and flipper kind of person, you still want to learn this stuff, because this is how you find the best deals in the market, or out of market deals. Okay. Number 4, the 3 DDS secrets of virtual wholesaling. Okay, you want to be able to do this anywhere in the world, especially anywhere in the United States. Okay, you don't want to get stuck in a local county or anything like that. Okay, the 7 steps virtual and remote wholesaling workflow, I'm going to share that with you. You're also going to learn the art and science of joint ventures. You're also going to learn data, the 3 phases of motivation and eliminating competition. Competition is a real thing. There's gurus everywhere, YouTube channels everywhere. Everyone think they're a wholesaler. Everyone have their hands in the jar and they want their own piece of the pie. And that's okay. But I want to teach you how to stand out so that you don't become just another wholesaler. Okay. Number 8, data collection analysis demo. Okay. So I'm actually going to show you a demo of the software and give you free access to the software. Okay, so I'm also going to give you that as well. And then number 9, the first step to getting started with high probability of success. And then 10, I'm going to give you an attendance gift. It's worth $97. Okay, this gift right here is one of the things that will set you apart from everyone else out there. Okay, It's ready to go. You can start using it right away. It's completely free. It will cost you $97 minimum for you to have access to this, or at least worth of time digging around the internet. But I've already provided it for you, and you're going to have access to that. It's called the V3000. Okay. The attendance gift is called the V3000. I'm going to give you access to that if you stick around. Just for sticking around till the end, it will help you make your life easier when it comes to wholesaling and give you access to the back door. Okay, so let's talk about goal number 1, the 5 most popular myths about investing in real estate. Let's dig in through it one after the other. C and C. You need cash and good credit. Do you need cash and good credit? No, you don't. Okay, you don't need cash, you don't need good credit, you don't need to see the property, you don't need to be present with the property to make money in real estate investing. No, you don't have to. Okay, you have to understand that cash and good credit, yes, is needed to complete transactions in the world that we live in, but it doesn't have to be yours. Okay, we live in the world. If you there's a book that you should have read by now, at least. It's called The Rich Dad Poor Dad. It talks to you about the overrating of cash and good credit in anything that you've ever thought about, or that you've been taught, right? Things are not always the way it seems. There's also time involved, there's skills involved. You can bring any one of those things to the table and partner with people that have cash and good credit, and you can make a deal happen. You get paid in cash. Okay, so stop thinking you have to have cash and good credit. There's a place for everyone. If you don't have good cash, good credit, you don't have to have those things to make money in real estate. Okay, also the idea that you know your hood better than everyone else, you should start local, that's BS now. Okay, that's out the window. We live in 2000 and digital, so you don't have to think like that anymore. It's a global village. You can do business anywhere as long as someone is receiving value from your activities right from behind your laptop, okay, with an internet connection. The third myth is that if you drive for dollars, you have access to data that no one else have access to. You can see properties that no one else can see on the internet. That's a lie. We all see all the properties on public record. We can all see them. Okay, all of us, we can see them, and we can even, at first everyone was preaching that you couldn't see them. They're the best opportunity, but now they're teaching people to virtually drive for dollars. Okay, which is still BS. You spend time just browsing around the internet with a mouse, trying to drive through the streets with Google Map. Is BS. It's a waste of time. Okay, if you value your time, it's a waste of time. If you don't value time, you're right, maybe it's not a waste of time. If you don't have any value of time, if you can't find a job for $10 an hour, then maybe you're right. If you can find a regular job for $10 per hour minimum, that's absolutely a waste of your time, because just one of those hours you work, you can have access to thousands of data just like that. Okay, so let's throw that out the window. I will not be teaching you drive for dollars. Okay, I'm not completely against it. I just think there's a better way for you to spend your time, especially if you're looking to build this business virtually and you understand about scaling, you understand it's about how much value you can bring to how many people in the world. Then it's not worth your time to be driving around for dollars. Okay, some people say it's a free strategy. Is driving for dollars a free strategy? No, it is not. Some people say knocking on doors is a free strategy. No, it's not. As a matter of fact, you want to make sure that you're despising free lunch if you want to make it in the game of entrepreneurship. By the way, this is entrepreneurship, and you want to despise, it's the 40th law in the 48 powers of law by Robert Greene. You want to despise free lunch because you know that everything costs money at the end of the day. That's only if you value your time. If you don't value your time, then obviously you spend 2-3 hours on something and then you feel like, oh, that was free. No, it wasn't free. You could have been working at $5 per hour. That was $15 right there. That $15 would have bought you access to at least a minimum of 10,000 pieces of data. Okay, so don't do that to yourself. You hear me talk about data a lot, and yes, you're gonna hear that a lot. Number 5, budget, that you need a lot of money. No, you don't need lots of money. You don't need lots of money. Will you need some money? Yes. Okay, but the answer is also no. Again, don't put any one of these resources on a pedestal. It's about which one do you have right now? How can you partner with people that have the ones you don't have? It's about being resourceful, okay? That's what it's about. I'm going to share some really, really good tips with you on how to be the most resourceful you can be here today. So that's the goal number one we just covered right there. We covered the myth, we got rid of it. Let's go on to the next one, which is the 10 steps definite guide to real estate investing and wholesaling. This is very important that you know this because it's the background to everything, okay? Number one, you want to get a list of distressed owners. Remember I told you earlier, we don't deal with on the market property. I'm not going to ask you to go to a realtor and start bothering them because you want access to see a property like a conventional buyer. You're not a conventional buyer, okay? Conventional buyers buy houses so they can live in it, okay? That's not what you're trying to do here, okay? You're trying to be an entrepreneur here. You're trying to create deals, okay? Where you can make $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 per deal, okay? Minimum $5,000, okay? Sometimes $3,000, yes, sure. But on an average, my deal averages around $25,000 per deal. So that's what you should be targeting. Can you sometimes make $10,000? Yes, of course. Okay. But the idea here is you don't want to get stuck with one deal anyway. You don't want to get stuck with one lead anyway. Like I said, if you're here and you only closed one deal, there's some people here in this room and they've closed one deal and they couldn't figure out anything else. I'm going to show you a system to do this over and over again. So the first step is to get a list of distressed owners. Okay. Some people say drive around for dollars, but that's not a list. That's wasting 1 hour. So you can find one property that looks like it's overgrown weed, but then that's like 1% of the work that you have to do on that property when you could have been doing that on 10,000 properties at the same time. Okay. Number one, get a list of distressed owners. Distressed owners, potentially distressed owners, meaning these people are on some kind of list. They owe money. They owe money. The property looks vacant. They are out-of-state owners. They are a landlord. They've owned the property for a while. They're a landlord, and it just looks like they also owe money to taxes. Those are the kind of list we're looking for. So number two, we need to contact with offer to buy. So these distressed owners, they have a property where they know we need to contact them somehow, some way, and we're going to talk about that in details. We need to contact them somehow, some way with an offer to buy the property. Number three, you need to negotiate a deep discount. Minimum of 75% or less. And then remember what I told you about the 70% rule. You need to adjust it for whatever is going to cost it. Estimate of whatever is going to cost to repair the property needs to be adjusted for that as well too. So it's not just $75,000. It's going to be $75,000 minus whatever the estimate to repair is. And I say 75% here because remember I told you if the market is very, if it's a busy market like the metropolitan cities like New York, like Phoenix, Arizona, like California, like LA, California, then you probably need to be around 75%. If it's like somewhere in the middle of nowhere in Alabama, you probably need to be around 55, 65%. Okay. So it just depends. Okay. So it's not exact science. That's a art and a science to this game. But the idea is to negotiate a deep discount. And number four, you need to once you agree to a price, you need to lock it under contract. That's the step number four. You need to lock it in the purchase contract. Basically, it's a purchase contract. Some people say it needs to have a clause so you can assign it. Actually, that's not necessarily true. As long as it doesn't say you can't assign it, then you can always assign it. Okay. And if you're dealing with a motivated seller, someone that absolutely needs to get rid of a property, they usually don't care if you have to adjust or you have to amend a contract or something like that. Even if your contract is completely perfect, right? If it's not a motivated seller, they can back out anytime. So the really key thing here is dealing with a distressed owner, a motivated seller. Number five, exercise or assign the contract. You can use the contract and actually buy the property and then fix it and flip it and make some profit, or you can assign the rights, the equitable rights in the contract to a person that will pay you an assignment fee. The highest that I've made is $82,000. We'll talk more about that later, right? Just from one deal, okay? But you can make $5,000, $10,000 just for assigning the contract to somebody else. Then you go look for another one. Then you go look for another one. Now, are you just going to look for another one? No, you create a system that's always looking anyway, okay? Number six, you want to close and or cash out wholesale. So if you close the deal, like this, you close if you're fixing and flipping it by yourself, or you can just cash out by wholesaling it, which is assigning the contract. Or You continue with the process. Step number 7. This is just the 10 steps definite guide to real estate investing period, right? So if you were just going to invest and fix and flip, then you need to add value to the property, meaning you're fixing the property. Make sure you bring it up to market speed. Remember that example I gave you? You're basically making sure the property is worth $100,000, and somebody will come in, they will fall in love with it, curb appeal, everything is good to go, and then they pay you 100 grand, right? You add value to it, and then you rent out, or you list the property for sale with a realtor, right? So realtors are always involved. Agents, you list it with an agent, you pay them a little nice commission, and then you sell the property for a profit, right? Step number 9, you close and you cash out, okay? So beyond step number 6 here is you're actually doing the work yourself and you're flipping the property, right? But at number 6, you can actually cash out and assign that to somebody else and just focus on acquisition and just focus on finding these deals. In that case, you'll be labeled a wholesaler. That's when we call you wholesaling, right? All right, so step number 10, you rinse and repeat. You got to put this into a system. You will get frustrated. No amount of work is worth you doing all of this manually. I'm just letting you know upfront right now. System doesn't mean a bunch of technologies. It just means you have a process. Like this is a business for you, okay? Like you have a set of processes that is repeated and you can follow it over and over because it's predictable and you can repeat it over and over again. That's what it means. So those are the 10 steps, definite guide to real estate investing and wholesaling right there. Next, let's go on to goal number 3 today. That whole next step, right? That whole 10 step. We have the 10 steps in front of you right now. There are 2 necessarily evil sides of wholesaling. So right now we're going to dive in more and more into the wholesaling side of the business, because the idea of this is that you can do this from home. You don't have to go fix your property if you don't want to. If you decide to, you're only doing that to the best deals only, okay? So, but there are a lot of people that don't care about the best deals. They just want to make the next 10, 20, 30, $40,000 because they are the fix and flip properties, okay? They do the dirty work. They hire the contractors. There are people that do that. There are more than enough of them that are ready to buy the properties you find, okay? So there are 2 necessarily evil sides of the wholesaling game, and that's what I want to share with you here today. It's called acquisition. The first side is acquisition, where you basically you focus on finding these deals, okay? And then the next is called disposition, okay? So you find deals, you assign the deals. So at step number 5, I told you you're assigning the contract. As a wholesaler, you want to assign the contract to other people, and then you collect an assignment fee, and that's it. Your assignment fee can be $10,000, $15,000. How is that possible? So let's do a quick example math, okay? So a property is worth $100,000, all fixed up, right? You found it, right? And you were able to find somebody to accept an offer of $55,000. Why? Because the property needs lots of work worth about $10,000, right? So the property needs work. So they admitted it needs work. They called you, as a matter of fact, because the property needs work. They don't have the funds to put the property back in pieces. Not only that, they have a lien of $20,000 that they have to pay off, and they can't afford to continue to own this property, right? So what you did is that you locked the property under contract, step 4, at a price of $55,000, right? And then you now assign the deal to a person who is actually going to fix and flip the property. What is the assignment fee? They pay you $5,000 for the equitable rights in the contract that you locked, right? They pay you $5,000. Your job is done. They paid $55,000 for the property, right? So their total cost is $60,000. And now they turn around and spend $10,000 on fixing the property. Now their total cost is $70,000, right? And now they flip the property for $100,000. They just made $30,000. That person just made $30,000. Of course, that's the gross profit they just made. They have to pay closing costs. They have to pay commissions and stuff like that. So they paid commission about 3%. That's $3,000. So that's $27,000. Closing costs another $5,000. Let's just say they made a net profit of $20,000. The idea is they want to do that over and over again. They spent what? $70,000. They made $20,000. People will do that all day long, and basically you make $5,000 for finding the deal, okay? So acquisition is step 1 through 4, Everything that happens from exercising the assigning the contract is called disposition. Okay, those are the two necessary evil sides of wholesaling that the gurus never talk about. Why? Because to find the distressed owners, that's actually marketing activities, okay? But to find the buyers as well too, the person, the able and willing investor that's actually going to pay you for the contract and then pay for the property, that's also another marketing activity, okay? Most businesses have one marketing activity. Most businesses, right? But in real estate, there's usually two sides, two necessarily sides, and they don't talk about that. And marketing costs resources, okay? It can cost you time, it can cost you money, it can cost you energy. So you need to understand this so you can know where to put your energy, so you can know where to focus on, where do you want to become an expert. That's why I keep telling people there are multiple ways to make money in real estate. But one of the ways to not make money in real estate is to think you can do everything. You need to understand that there's a whole system in place called real estate, providing shelter for people. That's why we make money. But there's also a place you can focus on. And when you find a specialty and you focus on that, that's when you make the most money, because you just focus on that. You become an expert in that area, and you let everyone else do what they do. Okay. Now, we're going to be focused on acquisition the most here, because this is about virtual wholesaling and finding deals from your laptop, and then let everyone else do everything else, okay? They will love you because you're also putting food on the table for all of these families, okay? So I just want you to understand that you're not just alone here. There are people waiting for you to learn these skills so that it can pay you $5,000 over and over again. It's only $5,000 in that example because it's only $100,000. If you're dealing with $400,000 homes, that means you can expect about $20,000. It doesn't necessarily progressively scale back and forth with purchase price, but that's the idea, okay? That's the idea. You need to understand that the bigger the deal is, the more money you can make, okay? Because at the end of the day, this is entrepreneurship, and you make money in percentages, not in in linear, incremental, if you know what I mean, okay? So let's go now. Now that you know that there are two evil sides of wholesaling, we're going to be focusing on acquisition for the most part. And there's a way to get the disposition part of it done without you touching it. We're going to talk about that soon too. So let's go to step number the 3 secrets, right? Let's cover the DDS 3 secrets. What is the DDS 3 secret? These 3 secrets, it's paramount. Once you understand what this is, you can basically win. Okay, you can know, just have this at your back pocket all the time when you're thinking about wholesaling, you're thinking about virtual wholesaling, and frankly, honestly, when you're thinking about any kind of business. But I'm going to be using wholesaling because that's what we're touching here today as the main example. But if you have any type of business out there, you can literally steal the secrets and then find a way how it aligns with your business, okay? First one is data. You need access to data. We live in 2000 and digital. There's no such thing as building a business without data intelligence, okay? All right, so even for you to get from point A to point B physically with your car, you need data. It's data that they use to show you where you're going on the GPS. It's data, and it's data being collected by the users, meaning including you, okay? So the idea here is that data is the first secret. You need access to data. I'm going to show you, there's a demo. I'm going to show you where you have unlimited access to millions upon millions of data, so you can know what to do with it, okay? But you have access to data. When you go drive for dollars, if you bought into the idea of driving for dollars and you go write down addresses, guess what you're doing? You're collecting data. It's just that you're doing it at the speed of snail. You're doing it at the speed of like extremely slow, like at the speed of 1918. Okay, so you don't want to be doing that. You want to be able to have access to millions of data at your fingertips very fast, and you can. And I'm going to give you free access to a software that will let you do that without having to waste your time on knocking on doors just to collect data. Or, you know, knocking on doors is kind of like an outreach, but driving for dollars by itself is definitely a data collection activity, and is the slowest and the most expensive you will ever do it. But I'm going to give you a software that will give you access to all of that, okay? Depth, okay? The second secret is depth. So you have access to 10 million pieces of data, right? What do you do with that? Now you got to dig in through that data. Basically, you have to analyze the data, okay? There's data of all of the pre-foreclosures in your county. That's not good enough, all right? You need to find information inside of that data. You need to create intelligence inside of that data that shows you the people that are most likely going to be willing to sell. Just going after foreclosure is not good enough. It was good enough when I started back in 2005. All I did was send letters to pre-foreclosures, and I was closing deals back and forth once I started doing that consistently. But in this time and age, you can't do that. It's extremely expensive to be doing that because, trust me, everyone else is doing it, right? They're sending letters, they're calling them. You don't want to be doing that. You need intelligence in how you approach these things. And how you do that is by digging through the data. And you want to be able to do that using softwares. You want to be able to do that using technology without having to learn techie stuff. I'm not telling you have to learn techie stuff. I'm just telling you, you need tools, and you need to be able to do that. You need to dig through the data. You need to have depth when you're analyzing the data, basically. So does this pre-foreclosure, is it vacant? Is it also out-of-state owner? Do they own a lien? The more of those things that they have, the more chances that they are motivated, okay? So I have a filter that you apply to the data, and it basically brings you out the best pieces of data. It's a lot less, so it costs you a lot less to do an outreach to these people, and you don't have to worry about wasting your money and your resources on people that are not necessarily willing to sell. So we're going to talk about that when we talk about another topic in a second, but the second secret to really winning big in this game is depth. So that's the second acronym there, is D. And the third secret is solutions. What do I mean by that? You don't want to approach the business like, hey, I'm a buyer. You don't want to be approaching the business like, I'm a wholesaler. Definitely don't call yourself a wholesaler. The worst thing you can do when you're dealing with a seller is to call yourself a wholesaler. Oh yeah, we do wholesaling. Never, ever, ever say we do wholesaling. That's industry terminology. Your users, the people that are going to use your service, they don't need to know that. If you throw them off, it sounds like a scam. Frankly, to be honest with you, wholesaling is a trade terminology. It just means you buy something a lot cheaper than what it's actually worth. Why would you do that? Because you want to add value to it and put it back on the marketplace for a profit, right? So, but they may not have maybe they don't have that kind of comprehension. You don't want to waste your time explaining what wholesaling is to your seller. You're simply an investor, or at the very minimum, you're part of an investment group. You're part of an investment system. We invest in real estate like yours, and we're interested in your property. And it's as simple as that. But in that conversation, you need to find what problems, you need to have them admit to the problems that they have. So if they hold liens on the property, if the property is approaching foreclosure, if you need to pick out problems so that you can become a problem solver. And that's the third secret, okay? You need to approach the game like you're a problem solver, like you are a solution for the seller's problems. If you don't, you will get frustrated. You will hear things like, how did you get my number? You will hear things like, why are you calling me? You will hear things like, wait, you're the 50th person that called me today. Why are you calling me? No, I don't want to sell, right? You will hear crazy objections that some gurus will try to teach you how to overcome, but honestly, you're wasting your time, okay? You need to be a solution to the people you deal with. When you apply depth into the data, right, you naturally will have more than enough problems to solve. You just got to get them to admit to it, and there are ways to talk to them to get them to admit it, because frankly, they're going through so much problem with that property, and they can't wait for someone to show up, or for a number to show up in their mail, or for a SMS text message to show up that they can call and say, yeah, can you help me get rid of this piece of crap? They can't wait. When you apply the DDS 3 secrets, those 3 secrets right there needs to be in your back pocket when you approach this game, especially if you're going to do it virtually. You definitely don't want to miss out on any one of these 3 secrets. You need it applied. If you don't, you will waste your time, you will get frustrated, and you will blame it back on the game. And that's the worst thing that can happen to you. All right, so we just covered the 3 DDS secret of virtual wholesaling. But you know, the 10 steps that I shared with you earlier is quite a bit, okay? But I'm going to reduce that to 7 steps, because this is about virtual and remote wholesaling workflow now, okay? We're